I want to talk about this idea of cultural residency. In a few weeks, I guess in the next week or so, you guys are going to read this book, White Fragility. I want to put a little disclaimer out there. White fragility might make you feel a little guilty, right? It's important to read, but it's also important in the context. But I'm saying this point because if you only do book knowledge, that's head knowledge. It doesn't go to your heart. You need to have experiential learning as a part of this. Try a new culture's food. Sit in an environment that you feel uncomfortable with. If you're Republican, talk to a Democrat. If you're Democrat, talk to a Republican. Go to places where you just are out of place, right? And then develop this cultural residency. We would never have a doctor go straight from med school to do open heart surgery. But yet, when it comes to this issue of racial inequality and justice, we have people going from reading books to trying to make things happen automatically, skipping again the relationship step. So if you do a cultural residency, you can get more out of cultural residency by being more intentional about where you spend your dollars and what kind of conversations you have than you can if you pay a consultant to come in and identify where your racial gaps are. Why? Because it's experiential. You know better, and now it becomes co-created. After you move beyond reading books and to that point, and now you're actually getting into the real work of getting things done, you realize that you're going to get better results because you know the people you're talking to. As an entrepreneur, you wouldn't just go out there and say, I think I know what my customers want. You have to talk to your customers to figure out what they want. Otherwise, you're going to be a nonprofit organization, right? Excuse me. So really, the call to action that I have for a lot of folks is, we have, in the Twin Cities, we have a tremendous opportunity here in front of us. We were known for George Floyd. We were known for having the worst graduation rates for students of color. We were known for having for being the fourth worst ranked place for people of color to live. Why? See, instead of jumping to conclusion and say, well, there must be just racism alone, we have to do the thick thinking to realize what is the actual cause of this and how can we solve this? How am I doing time, by the way? I get passionate.
10 minutes.
Okay, wow, I talk fast. Yeah, there you go. And so here's an opportunity. We're talking to firms in Silicon Valley. We're talking to folks in Wall Street. Brown Venture Group, we really like to have this narrative from our community be changed, right? Invest into Brown Venture Group. Let us invest into communities of color. Let us co-create success. But don't just invest into us. Make our businesses a part of the supply chain. And that's hard to do because right now we have to manage risk and things like that. Guess what? Those risk assessments didn't factor in people of color. So what does that mean? We have to recreate onboarding diverse talent pipeline. We have to recreate what it means to onboard diverse suppliers, right? So yes, invest into Brown Venture Group, but also how can we move past economic stage 1 to economic stage 2? And that is the supply chain, right? So this is part of that. And the third thing is the relational aspect of things. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go way be outside of your comfort zone. People say all the time, you gotta get outside your comfort zone. Now, let's hold on a second here. What are you already good at, right? What is the thing that you can do that's really excellent? And then how can that thing be applied to communities of color? Don't go out and build homes if you don't know how to build homes. I know we love doing that for service projects and things like that, but I'm not a carpenter, right? If you are an investor, teach investment. If you are in sales, teach sales, right? Don't go beyond. You don't have to solve world hunger or solve racism all by yourself. That's never going to happen. It's one relationship at a time. It's one conversation at a time. And it's taking what you're already good at and applying it to your culture around you. So that is the simplest way to figure out what next. Well, you start with what you're good at. And secondly, is this relationships. I say it over and over again, relationships. Stop doing things for communities of color, and let's shift our thinking to do things with communities of color. The cognitive biases that plague us all, nobody's excluded from it, is the thing we have to be really way more intentional. The reality is, the reason why I started studying the subject of behavioral science was because I wanted to know my own self. I was impulsive. I tend to buy things differently. My wife was like, why'd you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I wanted to know. Instead of pointing the finger at everyone else and saying, you need to fix yourself, I had to fix myself. And not I had to understand what I was dealing with so that I can become a better contributor. Because now that I know myself a lot better, I know how to respond to my fellow citizen.